Senator Ernst, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to state for the record that I am adamantly opposed to the DOD's new policy on allowing travel expenses for those that are going to other states to seek abortions. I think it's incredibly important that we remain adherent to the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits taxpayer dollars from going towards abortions. I know this is an extension of travel services for family members and those service members, but again, those are taxpayer dollars being spent to fund the extension of an abortion. I am adamantly opposed. I know that there are others that are on this committee that agree as well. We're not saying that women can't seek abortions. They can do that, but that is to be privately funded. So thank you both, gentlemen, for being here this morning. And Secretary, I do worry that there's a mismatch between strategy and resources at the heart of the president's budget. The National Defense Strategy calls this a, quote, decisive decade and commits to act urgently to strengthen deterrence against the pacing threat, China. So, General Milley, would investments in posture presence and lethal capabilities like long-range fires reduce our risk in the Western Pacific?
Absolutely. Long-range fires would reduce our risk, not only Western Pacific, but anywhere, but for sure, yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, General Milley. So I know that you addressed this with Senator Rounds, but Secretary Austin, as we discuss those unfunded requirements, we see that we are $3.5 billion short in the Indo-PACOM, which includes critical strike capabilities and posture enhancements. So I do hope that this is something we can work with those commanders on those requirements. I think it's incredibly important, and I know my colleague from Alaska may address requirements in defending Taiwan, but it is incredibly important. If we are saying in the National Defense Strategy that this is a decisive decade, we need to act accordingly, and as Congress, we must fund accordingly. Chairman Milley, as you know, our Special Operations Forces are a strategic capability, and how can SOF help deter and defeat great power competitors?
Well, for Special Forces, regardless of theater, relative to a great power competitor, there's ongoing intense competition in the so-called gray space. They play a key role in that area. In addition to that, they can provide tremendous capability in train, advise, assist in indigenous partners and allies in region. That's important. Also, I would argue that irregular warfare is often an overlooked component, and as you start looking at larger conventional war, irregular warfare plays a very key role in all forms of war, and that will play a key role in any great power war as well. So those are some of the key things. There's strategic reconnaissance, there's the development of the battle space, advanced force operations, the whole litmus test or a litany of capabilities that Special Operations Forces bring that have a direct role prior to the onset of hostilities and can contribute to the deterrence of war with any great power.
Very good, and I appreciate that because you answered my next question about surrogate forces and partnering with those forces in indigenous actors, and they do help SOF compete against great powers, so I do appreciate that. Secretary Austin, will the department's guidance to the SOF enterprise place our great power competition above counterterrorism and crisis response missions?
I'm sorry, Senator, I missed the question there.
Yes, SOF as it applies to great power competition, will you be placing their mission with great power competition over the other mission of deterring terrorism?
We have to strike a balance, and we see our SOF forces doing that. I know you've talked to our Special Operations Force combatant commander. He is looking at this in a very methodical way and making sure that he maintains a balance of capability that can serve both challenges there, and they're doing a great job. And I've seen some of our Tier 1 forces very rapidly transition and start thinking about how they're going to be relevant, not just thinking about it, but developing capability to be relevant in great power competition. at the same time, keeping a good handle on transnational terrorist organizations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's incredibly important that we continue to fund our SOF as necessary because they do strike a balance between great power competition, working in that gray zone, and also deterring terrorism around the globe. So I would just encourage members of this committee to continue to focus on the strength within our SOF forces. Chairman Milley, thank you very much for your service to our great United States Army as well as the Joint Force, and also my best wishes to Holly Ann. We know that behind every great leader is someone who supports them thoroughly, and she has been a tremendous force in working with our Gold Star families, with all of the members of their service and their families. So my best wishes to you and your entire family. Thank you, Mr. Chair.